Hi everybody, I am Ryan Koonce from Mammoth Growth, and I'm here today talking with G, the VP of Growth at Drift.
Hi Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So you've had a pretty illustrious career in growth. You're one of the original, quote, growth hackers, if we can call it that. And you landed at Drift recently. Tell me a little bit about how you got there.
Sure, super easy. I was a customer of Drift in my past company. I usually go in a new company when I am excited about the product and the team, and I did some advanced growth strategies, you could call them growth hacks, when I was in my past role at Segment, and I worked with the team to push them on the product. That worked really well, and when I was looking for my next thing, Drift was an obvious choice.
So tell us a little bit about Drift. I mean, it's in an interesting space because when you first look at it, you think web chat, but it's way more than that.
Yeah. So right now it is web chat, which is like pretty simple. But what we are doing, what we're empowering, is quite different. Most web chat technologies are there to help companies on their support side after the sign-up, post-sign-up. Our focus is actually feeding salespeople, feeding reps. That's the easy way to look at it. And so we talk to any person, so it could be the growth person, that was me at Segment, or it could be the head of demand gen, the person who feeds the reps. And that's where we are. We are north or upwards of the sign-up, and we are optimized for that. So that's like our target. What we are building is a conversational platform. So we are helping companies on the long term have better conversations with their customers. And I think the underlying problem we're trying to solve is most of the time companies give a crappy experience to their customers on their website, a really crappy one. And the way to look at it is to compare with the usual retail experience, right? When you come to buy a car in a retail, a car dealer, you don't have a salesperson telling you, please fill this form before I can talk to you. And once you fill it, it says, okay, I'll reach back to you tomorrow. Please come back.
Right.
That's not how it works. You never come back to that dealer again, ever. Right? It's a horrible experience. However, on internet, and you know it because of attribution, we spend a lot of money bringing the right people to our website.
Fill out a form that, guess what, maybe I'll never come back.
And you know what? Many companies don't call back that lead within 24 hours.
Right.
And that's when the intent is high. That's when they actually desire to know more about your product.
Well, it's not even 24 hours. It's, I want to know right now.
I want to know now.
Right.
I'm on your site now. Why are you not helping me now? Right? And so that's the premise. And we say, okay, we can change that horrible experience. And we're starting with chat because that's where the intent is the highest. That's where we can actually change that. So we are saying no forms. We don't want forms anymore. Right? And we are doing that ourselves. We removed first the contact form on our own site. Now we actually remove the sign-up form. On Drift, to sign up, you click on the button and it pops up the chat experience. And you can sign up through the chat. Right? And if during that we identify that you actually have the intent to talk to us, not just to sign up, we'll take it from there.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. So you just said something really interesting, which is if we identified. And so what is some of the magic or the secret sauce that goes into that identification process? Because knowing who you're chatting with in an anonymous setting is actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, so I can actually take that and we can walk back a few years on my experience. I've been working so let's take that back. I've been working for 20 years now and 15 years in a professional context. This year is my 20th anniversary of doing stuff on the internet, right? Which is it's a long time.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah. And these past now 5 or 6 years, I've been focusing exclusively on B2B SaaS. And on B2B SaaS, there's a few important things that are important that we should know. One is cost of acquisition is very high. 2, the time to close is usually long. And 3, there's actually a lot of data that's available out there to know more about the company or the person that is helpful in the sales process. And so these past years I've been working on using technologies to enrich, augment our knowledge of the user. And if you look back, like those 5 years at the beginning, like at the turn of like the 2010, there was stuff like Kissmetrics, where you could have all of the behavioral knowledge. What are the people doing on your website? They're still anonymous. You know where they come from, some attribution, and you know what they're doing. You don't know who they are, which company they work for, right?
That's right.
But that was already pretty good, right? And so we did some stuff around that. Now with technologies like Clearbit, secret sauce number one, you can do some IP to domain relationship, and so you can have a pretty good coverage, around 40%, on which of your visitors work for an important company, and you can get the data on that company. How big is the company? How many employees do they have? What technologies do they use? And you can use that to build scoring models based on your past conversions, which inform you this visitor is valuable and that visitor is not. Which means you can have, for the first time, that's something pretty unique that I've built like a year and a half ago. You can have qualification on your anonymous traffic per source.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that this visitor has a high fit with my product, a high chance of being able to pay. And if you merge that with the behavior, you can see, well, they're behaving like someone who wants to use my product. And I know they come from a company that has the means to pay for my product. Now I want to talk to them.
So let me break this down into a couple steps. And
Mm-hmm.
so, one of the things you said was Clearbit was a way for you to augment the data on the user that's anonymous that came to your site that you're going to initiate a chat with.
Yeah.
The other thing that you said, which I think is interesting, is that in order to know that that person's valuable, you have to do the kind of heavy lifting on the behavioral analytics side to determine that people that look like this user are likely to convert and pay us in the future.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, and I don't do that myself. I almost never built anything. That heavy lifting, that fit model is actually built by a company called Mad Kudu for me. And it's built just on past conversions. So look at all the companies that have paid for my product over the past year. And they look at all the traits, the similarities, what do they have in common, and then they build a model where I can ping their API with the company details and get in return a score. And so merging the data of knowing which companies are coming to my site, even though the visitor is anonymous, and scoring those companies enables me to improve their experience after that knowledge. So I've done a lot of different things on that. I think the first thing I did was just email the companies, email people at those companies if they don't sign up.
Got it.
Say, hey, come back, we should talk.
But you're not signing people up anymore. You're going straight to chat.
Second thing that I did is actually power the chat dynamically. The problem of chat is that I tried for the past 5 years and I failed for the first 3 or 4 years. And I failed not because chat doesn't work, the technology works, you actually have a chat going on. It's just that my sales rep were having a lot of conversations that were not valuable.
That's right.
And that's the problem there is that humans cost money, right? And they cost a lot of money. And so they spend their time, if I have a sales rep in San Francisco, at the cost that it is, spending their day having conversations where only 1% or 2% are valuable, I'm wasting money.
That's right.
And so being able to predict who they should talk to and power up and offer the chat experience just for those people was an insane improvement. It's enabled me to create a valuable channel. And that's the hack, this growth experiment I did at Segment with Drift. We call it power chat and dynamic chat. It's just like being selective about the experience you give to your customers.
And so secret sauce number 1, Clearbit.
Yeah.
Secret sauce number 2,
Mad Kudu. Yeah.
And secret sauce number 3 is not only identifying those users and determining who's valuable, but then focusing a salesperson in on those users so that you don't have your salespeople working on leads that are basically not going to perform.
Correct. So now that you know that they have intent, they've come to your website. You know that company, and now you give them the option, the opportunity to go faster through your funnel. You have to see that those valuable companies, they don't want to waste time. They don't want to fill a form and wait to be contacted by email. They want to have the fast lane. And that's good because we also want them to have the fast lane. We want our sales velocity to increase, right? And so by offering the chat to them, we enable that possibility of going faster.
So what happens when you identify somebody that maybe shouldn't be in the fast lane? What do you do with them?
So we don't offer them the chat.
Where do they go?
So there's a few things. First, we have a self-service product, and so when we identify you, it actually powers a chat with a bot, which like is going to offer you that option. If we know that you should not talk to a human, we're going to say, hey, it's great to have you, and you want to click here to sign up and like try your product, and that's great because that does not, I don't incur the cost of the human.
That's right. So secret sauce number 4 is the bot in your chat.
Yes, because the whole point about, so if you look about growth holistically, what is my job? You know, my job isn't just to like have a ton of people sign up. That does not make my boss happy, does not make my company money. My job isn't even to increase revenue without any limits, restrictions. My job is to create margin.
Yield,
right?
That's right.
And so how do I do that? There's 2 ways. I can bring in more revenue at the same cost, or I can decrease costs, right? And so I do a bit of both. But the bot and all the other technologies that are similar is a way to actually bring in signups and revenue without cost of humans, right? The fast lane, where I have salespeople, is a way to bring in higher ASPs, higher revenue, with some costs. Mm-hmm. And so I do both. I optimized to bring in the highest yield.
So I was joking at the beginning of this conversation about growth hacking, and I would love to just hear from you how you think about growth hacking, because when we talk to clients, you know, there is a hugely disparate understanding of what it takes to do growth. And when they put a job posting for a growth hacker, we laugh because, you know, that's really usually 2 or 3 jobs. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to get your perspective on how you think about growth hacking in an organization and how other companies can take advantage of some of this experience to use it for themselves.
Yeah. So, well, let's put some limits to what I can tell you. I can tell you what I know from the context of having worked in B2B SaaS for these past years. And growth hacking outside of that is, I am sure, very different.
Yes.
I know very little about B2C. So back to my experience, and the growth hackers that I know in my space, we all work on yield, and we all work across the funnel, which means we can focus on top of funnel acquisition, which is what people mostly think is growth hacking. But we also work on like stuff like activation, increasing the conversion to paid, or retention,
or the value per user,
or the
value
per
ACV.
user.
Right.
And usually what I'm good at, what people like me are good at, is the data first, understanding, being able to paint the picture of the funnel. Where is your funnel leaking? Where are you not optimal? What should we focus on first? Because like we could do anything, right? But like it doesn't mean we should do everything.
That's right.
And so we gotta focus. If your churn is like 6 or 7% per month, it's pretty obvious that there's like a lot of money to be found by optimizing the churn, right? If, for example, your conversion to sign up is only like 1 or 2%, I could focus there, right? And so there's a lot of flexibility. We can do almost, across the funnel, we can work on anything. The challenge in what is growth hacking is being able to understand the data and to be a bottomless pit of ideas to solve that one problem. Once you focus and you nail down this, I'm going to work on signups, I'm going to work on retention. Okay, now you need to be able to be very creative. Growth is not about replicating what you've read on other sites, and some of it works, but usually your business model is unique.
That's right.
Your traffic is unique, your product is unique, we hope it is, and that means that your problems are unique. You can't just apply the same recipe, it's not going to work. You need to be able to, and there's a lot of psychology there, you need to understand why are people not behaving the way you hope they do. Right? Is it because they have a bad experience? Because they don't understand the product? Is it because there's a pricing issue? You need to be able to understand that. And then you need to be able to create better experiences. It's all about that. The way I see growth hacking, is creating better experiences that will push my customers to convert because they want to.
And I think one of the things that you said that's most important is that you have to be creative, and there ends up being a million ideas.
Yeah.
If you're focused on yield, it becomes a lot more obvious what order to put those ideas in. Because you can have a great idea that maybe isn't going to generate a lot of yield. Really, really cool.
Yeah.
I really wish I could test it. But if I can just mitigate churn by a little bit, by identifying users that we think we're going to turn and reaching out to them and doing something differently, we just made the company a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that might be the most obvious thing to start with.
So what I do, my secret that I have in most companies.
Secret sauce number 5.
It's actually a bigger one. I'm an employee. I've almost always been an employee, save for 2 years where I was a founder. When you're an employee, the thing that you might not know is that you get a target, right? You get a goal, and to survive, you got to reach that goal, right?
Founders have targets too.
Yeah, but you can't fire yourself. And then what you do is once you've reached that goal, you're safe. What I do is that usually it's fairly easy for me to reach the goal, right? And I keep the fun stuff once I've reached the goal. I can do whatever I want.
That's right.
So the hacky, fun experiment that I wish I could test, I will test it, but I bring in the money first.
Great.
And then the CEO said, can't really say anything because I'm at target already. I'm like a maximizer of sales reps. A sales rep that is capped will not work after the 20th day if they've reached that goal.
That's right.
I'm like a capped sales rep. But instead of stopping working, I do my hacky stuff on the 20th day. And I think it's important. It's a bit like kind of at growth, like the 20% time. I need that time to be able to discover the new vendors, the new secret sauce. Growth hacking, if you want to be efficient, you got to live on the edge of innovation. It's marketing innovation. Andrew Chen at Uber has a sentence which is the decaying performance of new hacks. Right? He calls it the law of shitty click-throughs. And what it states is that any new growth strategy will have diminishing returns after time because it just gets popular. For those that don't know, the first banner ad in 1994 actually had a 74% click-through rate. 74% click-through rate. Can you imagine that?
I can imagine that being the number one thing I focus on.
Yeah. And so it's just like as it becomes popular, any new channel, any new strategy just brings back diminishing
returns. Right.
And so you got to change. And so that's why I got to live on the edge. I got to innovate. My idea of like having power chat, where we actually inject the data of the company in the chat to make that chat experience more relevant, to increase click-throughs, it's now a 1.5 years old, right? It's becoming popular, and you can see the click-through rate going down. I need to do something else.
That's right. Any last things you'd like to let the world know?
Yeah. I think these past 2 years, I've been focusing on improving the experience on the site. Once I detect the intent. I know intent because people are coming to me, and then I try to sift through, filter, and exclude to keep just like the right people that I can optimize, right? The problem is that the people who come to my site, it's like 1% of the market, the total market I could address, maybe less, usually less, right? But there's a lot that these other like 99%, they have intent from time to time. They're looking for like a product that could be my product. Maybe they go to a competitor. Maybe they don't do anything. Maybe they built in-house, right? What I'm focusing on now is discovering the intent before they express it to me. And so I'm buying more and more third-party data to be able to detect the intent and reach out to those companies before they come to my website. Because I know that they have the right fit. I've actually analyzed their traits, so I know that they have the means to pay, and 2, I know that they are in the market right now. And so I can undercut all of my competition. I can pull the rug from under the competition by creating deals, opportunities in those companies, even before those people start going to any of our websites. That's what I'm working on. So it's predictive intent modeling. And I think that's kind of the future. I think the website is too late. I think if you wait for people to come to your website, you're almost too late now.
That's great. Well, listen, hey, thanks a lot for joining us today.
My pleasure.
We have G from Drift, the VP of Growth, doing an awesome job out in the world growing businesses.
Thanks, Ryan.
You bet. Thank you.
Successful growth strategies depend on good data. If you don't have the data you need or believe the data you have, we're here to help. Find out more at mammothgrowth.com.